NASCAR Sprint Cup Racing from Pocono Raceway is brought to you by Sprint, proud sponsor of the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series. By Nationwide Insurance. Enter this code at codespotter.com for a chance to win one-of-a-kind NASCAR VIP experiences. By Coca-Cola Classic. Open a Coke and enjoy the race. And by Toyota.
Next Sunday, NASCAR on TNT heads to Michigan. Coverage begins at 12 p.m. Eastern Time with Countdown to Green delivered by Pizza Hut, followed by NASCAR Sprint Cup Racing from Michigan. That's next Sunday afternoon in the Irish Hills. Juan Pablo Montoya had a two-tire stop at lap 112 under caution. He is the race leader. Jeff Gordon, Denny Hamlin, Kurt Busch, and Casey Kane, the top five. 114 laps complete here at Pocono.
Copy that. We'll just go to the 27 air here. Try that. They're up a little more in the rears. We can just try it, make sure we're not fooling ourselves coming way down here.
Listening in on Clint Boyer and crew chief Shane Wilson via Inside Tracks on TNT. It's been a bit of a struggle for that race team this weekend. They are 14th in the running order. Dale Earnhardt Jr., not bad. 7th is where he is this afternoon.
Seems like as the race goes, I'm losing a little bit of my competitiveness as we go for whatever reason. If I just need to be loose and just deal with it, I'll just deal with it. I think the track's freeing up though, Junior. It's not just us.
That's why I'm still baffled about this two-tire change, Kyle.
Especially with the sun out.
With the sun out, and you're the leader.
Yes.
Jeff Gordon.
You had everything to gain and nothing to lose.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
We see how this thing works out, but I'd sure like 4 tires right now with the sun out.
Gordon got 4, and right behind him, Hamlin got 4 on the restart.
Kurt Busch, see ya. Kurt Busch on the outside with 4 fresh tires. Goodbye.
Well, I don't think it's going to end there. Jeff Gordon going down to the inside of Juan Pablo Montoya for second. Here comes Denny Hamlin. Jimmy Johnson lining up.
I think Montoya's going to... He's seen a lot of these cars go by.
Big break, that caution coming out. Paul Menard, very competitive early.
Yeah, that puts him definitely back in the hunt. Although this is not good. Yeah, the inside going into the free is never good.
Yeah, Menard, another one of those that got 2 tires there.
But he was forced to take 2 because he was all but the last car on the lead lap. He was forced to take 2, and to Wally's point, he was forced to take 2 to get back in the ball game. Montoya was running the ball game at that time, as we see some of the wave rounds come down pit road now.
Marty?
Yeah, guys, it was strictly a track position play, and remember the 2 tires worked for them earlier, and obviously, Brian Patty wouldn't make the call now, but earlier in the race, that's how they got up to the front, so Brian Patty was just thinking, let's get the track position and keep it this time as well.
Okay, I don't understand how you got track position when you're leading the race.
Yeah, that's right.
That is track position.
When you are the leader, you don't look for track position, you look for 4 fresh tires and full of gas. That's why we don't understand what that call was.
Jeff Burton, Mark Martin, and Brian Vickers just pitted. They were a few of the cars that took the wave around on that last caution. Brad Keselowski, Marcus Ambrose, Dave Blaney, some of the others that took the wave around under caution a moment ago. Kurt Busch's lead, 0.6 of a second over Jeff Gordon. Denny Hamlin is third, just over a second behind. Montoya cycling into the 4th position, and then you see Jimmy Johnson right behind him with Tony Stewart and Casey Kane lined up.
Stewart's got a good run right there. He got out of the gas early. Looks like he's going to try to make a move here. How about Stewart's car now, Chris?
Well, Tony Stewart has just been a bullet since the green flag came down. He was back in 11th when the green came down. He's up to 6th right now. He's been really happy with the car on that last stop. Made just a slight change, half pound of air out of the right rear.
Left side on board with smoke. Right side of your screen, you see him trying to run down Jimmy Johnson for the final spot in the top 5.
Downshift to the 3rd, going in. He's going to bring in her 4th gear up the straightaway. I'll downshift again here in a little bit, going down into turn 1. I'll throw it back down to the 3rd. Gets off turn 1 pretty good. It gets right there with the 48 car. He's gonna take a look, but just doesn't quite have enough car next to him unless Jimmy just lets him go. Nope. Well, they're up on the RPMs.
So you're right on board there, and just before you saw those guys going at it, watch what happened in front of Tony.
That was a tunnel turn, wasn't it? It was turn 2.
And remember, the 27 car took 2 tires.
Yeah.
So as he got down under there, and you're on the outside of him as he goes across the tunnel, we talked about it earlier. It's tough to go across that tunnel too wide, and it's almost impossible on old tires. And the 27 only was half and half.
Jamie McMurray fans, we should point out to you that he's running 34th right now, 10 laps down. He actually went to the garage area for a brief period of time after losing 3rd gear. They have changed the transmission, and he has returned to the racetrack. Last week, an emotional week for Jamie McMurray, spending a lot of time in his hometown of Joplin, Missouri, with the tornadoes and the aftermath there, and you saw how you can help on your screen a moment ago. Now back to the battle in the top 10 between Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Casey Kane.
Earnhardt's going to take that spot away from Kane. That's the 9th position.
7 drivers inside the top 10 right now. Former race winners here at Pocono. There is an art form to driving at this racetrack, and for some it's like riding a bicycle. You never forget. When we come back, we're going through the field with all the latest. Kurt Busch leading. And we are back at the Pocono Raceway. Aerial coverage of today's race brought to you by Farmers Insurance. Farmers Insurance, coverage for your auto, home, life, and business. Kurt Busch, the race leader. Just behind him, Jeff Gordon, and issues for the 9 of Marcus Ambrose. Just took the wave around, trying to make something happen late. And unfortunately, it's not going to pay off. We're hearing maybe a clutch problem for the Stanley Ford of Marcus Ambrose. Chris, what's the latest?
Well, right now he's saying the clutch is gone in the 9 car for about the last 30 laps or so. He's been dealing with a gearbox that has been failing. First he lost 3rd gear, then he lost 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, and has only been running around in 4th gear. So now he's got no clutch.
So we've heard the story on Marcus Ambrose. Time to hear the rest of the stories. With 75 laps to go, we go through the field. It's brought to you by McDonald's. Marty?
And we'll take you through the field. Kurt Busch wishing he could go through a drive-through right now. The car very good for him, especially when the sun comes out. That's when it's the best. The warmer it gets, the better this 22 is. There was one very small change on that last stop. Very happy out front, Matt.
Now Jeff Gordon started today 13th in the championship standings, trying to knock down another win to lock in a wild card berth for the chase. Gordon's car free on that last run. They are right on the window, Marty, of making it on 2 more stops here today.
Well, Denny Hamlin's still battling with a tight race car, especially late in the run. But what he has done inside the car, Hamlin has a brake bias knob. He's dialed in more rear brake. That helps the car turn a little bit better under braking. That also helps that tight condition. For Juan Pablo Montoya, the man out there with 2 tires, I just talked to Brian Patty moments ago. He said, that was my bad. He said, I honestly thought many teams would take 2 tires with only 10 laps on our tires. I was surprised we were the only one, Chris.
Well, Tony Stewart fell all the way out of the top 30 early on, but they've been adjusting that car all day long. Early on, way too tight. Right now, the car working well, but when the sun does peek through, it gets a little bit tight. Matt?
Chris, Jimmy Johnson lost that spot to Stewart, now in 6th. Jimmy's thinking that they should reverse the last change on that 48 car. He says the 48 feels lazy in the center, which just kills his exit. Ralph?
You know, this is a track, Matt, that Kyle Busch spent a lot of time watching videos and talking to Denny Hamlin about because he didn't feel real good coming in here. However, right now he's running in 6th, says everything's pretty good with the car. He just would like it to turn a little bit better. They can fix that on their next stop, Matt.
And Ryan Newman's car very consistent today, really coming to life with small changes, but he says his biggest issue he can't do much about. Dirty air. He's stuck back in traffic. He feels like the aero push is really hindering his movement forward, Ralph.
The 88 of Dale Earnhardt Jr. is running in 9th right now. He's running pretty good. Feels the car is just a little bit tight, but the one thing that is probably working the best is the conversation and communication between crew chief Steve Letarte and driver Dale Earnhardt Jr. Marty, we talked about at the very beginning of the show. Letarte said he's very underrated as how the communication is. It's been outstanding here today.
Ralph, Kevin Harvick is finally on the same pit sequence with everyone else, hanging in there in the top 10 right now in the 10th position. He's driving the car he won with at Michigan, but they need a little bit more speed. Harvick is battling a loose race car for most of this afternoon, Matt.
The car on the move, Marty, is the 16 of Greg Biffle. Just climbed up to 11th. Now we're back in clouds. His car is coming more to life. His only big issue seems to be over in the tunnel turn. Just too free, Ralph. Casey Kane has slipped back to 12th place right now. He's struggling to get the front tires to turn. That's the thing crew chief Kenny Francis will be working on when they bring the number 4 down to pit road next time, Chris.
Well, David Reagan started at 11th, running 13th now. He's been complaining tight all day long. They've been making progress, though. He said the car is the best it's been all day. Matt Kenseth is 7th in the championship stand, is currently 14th on the board. Kenseth and Jimmy Finney trying to figure out what adjustments to make to the 17 car in the next step to help with the grip. He's just concerned, though, Ralph, if they take too big a swing, they'll be dragging the front splitter. Paul Menard, Matt, has been playing the fuel game here this afternoon. The car's pretty decent. They took 2 tires on the right side on the last stop. It's that sun that's going in and out, Larry Mack, that's been messing with the handling of the 27.
Well, if you look back there, the 20 car right behind Paul Menard, Joey Logano, started in the 19th position, running 16th right now. And for a team that sits 25th in the points with only 4 top 15 finishes, doing exactly what they need to do. Right behind him, Martin Truex Jr. in the 56 car started this race back in the 31st position. We're starting to see teams make moves and changes halfway through the race to the chase. Comes here with a brand new crew chief, Chris. Chad Johnston replaces Pat Trice.
Well, Larry, Tony Stewart, these last couple laps, has lost 2 spots on the racetrack. He's complaining now. He's lost 3rd gear. He's been shifting in all 3 corners all day long. Now he's going to be using 4th.
Tough break, Chris, for a 2-time winner here at Pocono. And to circle back to a storyline that we opened up with today as you ride on board with Tony Stewart. How about some of these drivers that started way deep in the field? Kyle Busch, 6th. Kevin Harvick up in the top 10. Matt Kenseth, Greg Biffle. A number of guys have made big gains today.
And you can hear it go back to Tony here. You see he's not shifting now, especially in turn 1. You hear the difference in the RPMs when you're shifting and you're not shifting. The car lugs up off the corner more when you're not downshifting. So it's actually a little bit slower.
Tony Stewart right now still in the top 10, scored in the 7th position. Let's listen in.
I'm off 3rd gear. 10-4, bud, 10-4. Just want to thank NASCAR for having us shift 600 times today. Appreciate that.
Yeah, you know, and he's talking about losing 3rd gear. Bad part about losing 3rd gear is means there's parts and pieces jumping around down in that transmission. There could be. Yeah. I mean, when you tear teeth off and things start happening, and we've seen it happen with other guys. And you're pointing at the RPMs right now to show how low they go.
2,000 RPMs difference between shifting and not shifting.
Yeah, and when you've set your car up and you've been driving it like you've shifted all day, it's a totally different second half of the race for Tony than it was at the beginning. You heard he was a little upset.
And a long way to go. Almost 70 laps remaining with Kurt Busch out front this afternoon.